Hello and welcome to my live. I'm Rhonda Kelly from Rhonda's Readings and Ocean Wing Psychics, coming to you live on Tuesday, the 1st of November. So it's one of my extra sort of little lives that I'm doing leading up to my Ocean Wing Psychic and Spiritual Fair this weekend, actually. So let me put up a banner about that. So that's my usual website. This is my Ocean Wings website, and this is just a little banner about the event. So it's all systems go. It's on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Tramsheds in Forest Lodge, Sydney, which is near Glebe. So I obviously am doing these just as a introduction to people, and you can get to meet people that you're going to see on Saturday at the Tramsheds. I've got some really amazing. I've got over 30 people there, so I've got some amazing people. This lady coming up is very interesting. She's actually studied at the Arthur Findlay College in the UK. She's also studied with French instructors. She does quite a lot. She's really impressive. I do some of the things that she does, but she's actually had formal training. I'm mostly self-taught. So yeah, I'm really excited to meet her. Just check the comments and see who's watching. Hi Robert, how are you? Good to see you. All right, so I've got a few more visitors by the look at. Hi, Nicole, how are you? Just so you both know, I have two guests scheduled. I have one in the waiting room, so hopefully the other turns up. The first guest is not doing psychic readings actually, but she is going to be talking about herself and basically answering any sort of spiritual related questions or any questions that you have related to what she says she does. So let's actually bring her into the stream. Hi, Hermine.
Hi, Rhonda.
How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much to have invited me. I'm very happy to be here tonight.
My pleasure. And I'm happy that you're here tonight, and I'm also happy that you're going to be at my psychic fair on Saturday.
Yes,
It's
it's
great.
gonna
So
be
you're
fun.
actually a part of our psychic reading room, and someone who said hello. I'll just say hello to Nicole first. Hi, Nicole. We've also got Robert Wilson. So Robert's also going to be a part of the reading room. I believe you're sitting at opposite ends, if I can remember correctly, but that's okay. You'll get to say hello to Robert and meet everyone. But I just wanted you to come on and because you've got such an interesting background and you do really interesting things as well. You're not just a standard psychic medium. So just wondering if you could tell us about yourself and how you started doing this and what exactly you do.
Yes, no problem. So firstly, I'm gonna just go on to the service that I will be offering at the fair because it will
Yes.
be easier to do it that way. But basically, I'm a medium since childhood, since my first memory. I also have memory from before my birth.
Mm.
So it's a little bit an experience when you come here and you experience all those things, and when you're a child, you think that everyone is experiencing the same, and then you realize maybe not.
Yeah.
So I had a actually very scientific background after my childhood, with my teenagehood being really focused onto medical studies and politics studies and all these kind of things, pushing away my mediumship abilities, which didn't want it to go away. And just came back, and I had to say, okay, let's dive in because I need to actually make something about it and accept myself for who
Yeah.
I am, which is a big step.
Yes, absolutely.
So at the fair, basically, I will be offering my channeling, which is my holistic guidance,
Hmm.
um, aura reading, and animal communication. So obviously, through all my teachings and my self experiences, I have had scientific experiences as well
Mm.
with people studying the brain and how mediumship works with the brain when we're communicating with animals. So I have this scientific part, and I have all the mediumship and higher consciousness part with the mentor that are really dear to my heart, that really worked for you to be basically realize who you are, and you are consciousness and love at the same time. And this is why you can create whatever you need if you're
Yeah.
aligned. And I'm really here to bring people to this alignment, to so we can create the new world all together.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely wonderful. And it's interesting. I was a medical scientist for 20 years, and
Ah,
I was similar to you in that I was a medium from childhood,
yeah.
and I was also psychic. So I connected with grandparents when they passed,
Mm.
and I also knew when they were going to die. So I had, and I would sort of come home from school and say, "Mum, Dad, the teacher said this, but she was lying." And I feel like my parents kind of thought I was just a bit annoying, or I just had an overactive imagination, and I sort of it wasn't encouraged, so I stopped doing it and stopped
Yes.
talking about it basically, and did math, science, chemistry, did the science part. And it's interesting, as a medical scientist, I specialized in sleep disorders and neurophysiology. So I looked at brainwaves related
So
to sleep
interesting.
and consciousness and alertness. So I
Mm.
haven't I haven't exactly studied neurology or neurophysiology related to meditation or spirituality or anything like that, or animal
That's
communication.
yeah, it's
But
beautiful.
yeah, I mean, that would be fascinating. That's probably something I should just look at doing and tying that in nicely. Yeah, so fascinating. So I've had that similar brain. And it's I mean, I'm intrigued that you have memories prior to birth. How did that come about? How were you aware of that?
Well, I always was aware of that. I didn't know people were not aware of that.
Wow.
So yeah, so no, I remember my guides telling me what I was going to do on this earth. I remember like going down and going into my mom's belly and everything like that. But I also remember like meetings that I had in the other world with the guides and everything like that. So actually, when I open up to mediumship, I'm really doubtful. So I
Mm,
was not for mediumity in general for
yes,
me.
yes.
So when I recognize someone in the astral world that I knew dearly,
Mm,
there was no doubt for me. And
mm,
this is also why I started with evidential mediumship, doing
mhm.
platform mediumship, because
Yes,
I needed them to prove me it was real. I needed
yes.
that for myself. And it's
Mm,
always a good path to go to evidential mediumship because you can directly check facts.
yes, that's right.
But my calling is in the soul path, and really bringing every human beings to the light that they are and the best that they are in this life.
Mm. Yeah, that's absolutely fascinating. So in terms of animal communication, is that from a similar intention?
Oh, yes, animal communication. So everybody can communicate with an animal. And I
Mm,
want to put that out there because I'm going to do workshop as well to teach people
yes.
how to do it. But this is a birthright that we all
Mm,
have. And, animal kingdom has been really suffering in the past centuries.
yeah.
And myself and all the other animal communicators and animal lovers out there, we're here to change that. And we're
Mm,
doing it. So my
yeah.
role in animal communication is to awaken in everyone the ability to talk with animal, because I'm not
Yeah, beautiful.
exceptional. We are all
Mm,
exceptional. We all have that. We just need to
yeah,
awaken it. So animals
yeah,
are guides, and some animals are actually aware of their guides and aware of their parallel lives as well. So I
yeah.
do work with them with that, but I also do work as I'm a dog trainer as well. I work in behavior change. Also,
Wow, yeah.
I work with exotic animals like tigers, meerkats, fennecs, so they're really good as well. But
Beautiful.
yes, and it's really also the link, the love, and the understanding between the humans and the animals.
Mm,
So yeah.
that's absolutely beautiful. We growing up, we used to have a neighbour who would talk to herself, and as a child, I saw animals going around her. And she
Mm,
had zebras and giraffes and other animals, obviously with a bit of mediumship,
yes,
and no one else could see them, but I saw what she was laughing at and what she was pointing at, and, my parents said, "Don't go to talk to her," so, of course, I went in the house and she gave me chocolates and that sort of thing, but I knew she wasn't scary because I could see what she was
that's
doing.
beautiful.
Yeah,
And
fascinating.
people like us that are experiencing at the moment, because everybody also is a medium. In
Mhm.
in you can become a medium. It's
Yeah.
just mediumship as a work is like being a baker. You all can do it, but
Mhm.
some people are meant to do it all their life
Yes.
professionally, some are not,
Yeah.
but we all have that and we can all learn as well. And it's beautiful to be able to experience that, but it's not necessarily part of the spiritual evolution. There's two
Yeah.
different parts. So it's very beautiful to see that, and to connect with our higher self for that.
Yeah, beautiful. So on Saturday in the psychic reading room, we have 15-minute readings or 30-minute readings available. Can you tell me what people would expect in a 15-minute reading, say, compared to a 30-minute reading?
Yes, so 15 minutes reading would be quite, you come with questions, and it
Mm-hmm.
can be, it's really a non-judgment room. Yeah, so you
Yeah.
can say anything, you can ask any question, spiritual questions or not spiritual questions, they're all welcome because they all talk about you and your inner self. And I
Mm.
can see that, so I'll help with that. So 15 minutes, come with some questions or a theme, and we'll quickly go through that. The
Yeah,
30
beautiful.
minutes one is probably the one I would recommend because, as you know, usually my session are 1 hour to 2 hours, sometimes
Mhm.
more. So it's really to connect with you and really go deeper in the 30-minute session. So
Yeah.
if you do a holistic guidance with me, that would be to talk to your guides, to have channeling messages for you, and to, for some of you, I already feel that, to tap into your soul purpose. So we'll
Mhm.
go into that. Everything that is animal communication, you can also be welcome to book for an animal communication. Just be sure to have a picture of your animal, and we'll go in any question that you have, which is medical, physical, mental, emotional,
Yeah.
everything, or every message that you want to pass
Mm.
them. We can work on that. The
Beautiful.
aura reading for animal or for humans, a 15 minutes to 30 minutes, it's fine. We will basically go through all your chakras. We will also go through your etherical bodies, and I will basically look at any imbalances that you may have. So it is good if you're feeling unaligned. It's good if you're feeling like you're missing something or you don't understand, you're not feeling
Mm.
yourself. This will help because while I'm doing that, there's also a realignment sharing with you. So you'll also have rebalancing energy going through you, and also tools and mantras and anything like that that can help you to really focus on your energy and how to
Beautiful.
heighten it.
Yeah, beautiful. So we've just got some comments. Jen has said hello. And Lenny, who's also coming to the psychic fair. I've known Lenny for about 7 years. So he's just saying he wants to give us a hug at the Tramsheds. So someone has asked if they can have a message. So Belinda, just so that you know, what we're actually doing with Hermione is asking any questions related to what she's talking about. So that's sort of aura readings or animal communication or sort of holistic guidance, holistic channeling. If you want to know how she's actually working, and I mean, she's probably answered your question already, but you joined us a little bit later. So we're answering those sorts of questions. So if I can ask you, Hermione, in terms of when you're with any of the things that you're offering, do you use all your senses or your clairs? Do you hear, see, smell, feel, taste? Or is one stronger than the other, or does it depend on the person?
Yeah, so I'm definitely a clairaudient and a
Hmm.
clairsentient, claircognizant, and clairvoyant. The
Beautiful.
smell and the taste, less, but I'm trying
Okay.
to.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
have it less, so I usually, it's really easy, clairaudient and clairvoyant,
Yeah.
to have
Beautiful.
everything coming through. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I get clear smell and taste as well. But I kind of it's interesting. I tend to get sorry, uh, just the person that joined. I was just picking up on their energy. In terms of the clear gustness, the clear taste, it's more when I do medical intuition.
Oh,
That's sort of I taste a metallic taste if they're anemic or something. And with the clarifaction, I tend to use my nose as a sense of what a person's intuition. Sorry, what a person's intention is. So if someone has a bad intention, they smell bad to me. I've
that's so
just sort of
cool.
calibrated that with spirit. So I've actually said to them, if someone wants to waste my time, make them smell a certain way. Or if they
Yeah.
want to steal money from me, make them smell it another way. And it's fascinating. Sometimes I meet people for the first time and I smell it straight away.
But
So,
it's so beautiful what you just say there, because there's a point that you make, that you ask your guides to
yes,
come through in a certain way. And this is
yes,
also what I wanted to tell to our viewers, is you can also ask certain signs and how
mm,
you want for them to approach. So for example, me, I want them to touch me when they're ready to work with
right.
me, but that's me. But I had one time a test in my mouth and I didn't like it. It was chocolate. I didn't like it. I was like, that's weird. So I'm quite impressed that you
Yeah.
work with that so easily, and like that's fine with you. I find it a bit intrusive.
Yeah, I again, it's like you said, you do what you're comfortable with. So I've also done it your way, and I've said to them if I'm in a situation or it feels it's repeating or there's something more to it, if I'm meant to understand it, touch my head. So I feel sort of just a heaviness or a warmth or weight on my head. Or if it's something I'm just meant to trust and feel, touch my chest. So I've done it that way as well. And but that I also get when I talk to my guides, I just get a tick if something is right. I'll and if someone's had a near death experience and they're telling me about that, and I don't know because I haven't died, I'll say to my spirit guides if that's correct, give me a tick. Although I'll hear them laugh if it's sort of a silly question. Yeah, but like you said, you just ask your guides. We
I'm
do we do actually have a question for you.
Yeah.
So Alison Turner has said, "Loved and shared." Thank you. Hi there, girls. Can you tell me if someone's aura is the same as someone's chakras?
Well, thank
Oh,
you so
great
much,
question.
Ethan. Yeah, that's a very interesting question. And I go through that in depth through my workshops. So, no, it's not the same thing. So, chakras are linked to meridians, and they're basically, if I put that in a very rough way, they're the blood vessels of your energetical bodies. Okay, so the chakras are the main blood vessels and energetical centers. So they're usually round and they turn into one sense and or another. And actually, you can know a lot depending how they turn. And
Mm.
they're very different, but they're very important. Usually, people work on the seven chakras because they're the one that you can find on our physical bodies. But we have way more, and I worked at least on the nine chakras.
Wow.
So the aura is different, and it's not as well. It's also different than the etherical bodies. The etherical bodies, you have them around you at several levels, and we have an infinity of them. We only know a few, and they're linked to your emotional, to your mental, to your spiritual. I won't go into too much detail because it's
Mhm.
really long. And your
Yeah.
aura is part of your energetical field. So the aura change constantly. You might have some staining in your aura, for example, if you have traumas, for example, that you're reliving past traumas, or things that will happen in, you can read a little bit the future as well, but mostly is what you're carrying. So it
Wow.
changes, and your aura can change as well how you feel. But deep down, we will, if I look at your aura, I will know how you truly feel. So you,
Wow. So
yeah.
regardless of what the expression on your face, your aura will give you away.
Yes, exactly. And
Mm.
in some astral worlds, actually, there is not this physical body, so you can directly see what people feel and
Wow.
think. So it's beautiful. Yeah.
That's
Thank you so much.
fascinating. So what do you mean, probably a dumb question, but I don't actually know the answer. What do you mean by etherical bodies?
Yes, etherical bodies are what we call also energy bodies.
Mhm.
And there are layers around you that follows your body, and they have different thickness, if I may say
Okay.
so, around your body. So how it works, for example, if I take an example as, for example, we'll say a disease, okay, because
Mhm.
we're medical. The two of us, we have medical. So basically, for someone to experience something physical, it has to go through all the layers of the bodies.
Mhm.
So the present medicine only working on the physical body will never go on the root of the things, because
Mm.
yes, healing the physical body is really important, but it's the root of the issue may be on the emotional body. maybe on the
Yes.
mental
Okay.
body. And you need to go back to that. This is
Okay.
actually how healing works, as well as hearing the etherical bodies around it. But we have an infinity.
Mm.
I'm aware of 21 of them, but
Wow.
I
Wow.
don't work on 21 of them. Usually we talk about the 7 bodies, and usually it's linked to the chakras. That's
Yeah.
why.
Wow. And just looking at one of the questions. So you read auras just with your eyes. You're not doing that through a camera, are you?
No, no, I see these beautiful cameras, and trust me, sometimes I'm drawing the auras, and my drawings are not as good as
Yeah. What
my
are the
mom
stick
draws.
figure?
Yes.
No big
So
nose for some.
my drawings are really rough, but I always say don't use a cookie cutter for your reading auras. I also teach
Mm.
how to read auras. So I often
Wow.
see those books where you see also, so when you see red on a person, it means that they're passionate. If you see purple in a person, that means they're spiritual. That's cookie cutter. That
Yeah.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
So yes, I see auras through my eyes, but I see also auras through my mind eyes, like,
Right.
clairvoyance. And
Beautiful.
you need to basically develop your sense of the colors, and there's a multitude of colors, not only the rainbow one. So if for you you feel that red means something completely different than passion, go
Mm.
with that, and you
Yeah.
can
Beautiful.
sense that. And while talking to the person, you can sense if your sense is developing correctly. So I really recommend you to do that. And again,
Yeah.
everybody can do it.
And that's actually you've just touched on something really important. Whatever you're getting has to have a meaning for you. And I've looked at books on psychic development and mediumship saying, a car means you're going forward. Well, no, it could it's not fixed for everyone. It's got to be what it means for you. And sometimes my interpretation changes depending on the person. I've got a few that pretty much always mean that, but I
Yeah.
always go intuitively of what it means. So yeah, and that's really important for people when they're starting off. They've got to work at the patterns of how they're talking to the guides and what that means, and know that that can change.
Yes, and also
Yeah.
mediumship goes through our brain, and
Mm.
the way that guides communicate with us is that ways that we understand. So something that we
Yeah.
never understand, it's really difficult to pick up for us
Yes.
because remember
Yes.
we're translating, right? So
Mm.
our job is to understand correctly and share correctly the answers. And
Yeah.
if we don't have a big what I call memory bank,
Yeah.
like with a lot of memories, it's difficult for them to pass through messages. So it's
Yes.
very important. And usually, mediums have had a lot of lives in one life, we'll say it like that, or had
Mm.
a lot
Mm.
of experience, or maybe
Yes.
difficult experiences as well, to be able to have this fan of feelings, understanding, empathy, and
Mm.
experience and memories that guys can use. So it's very
Yeah.
important.
That's fascinating. I've never read anything like that, and no one's explained it like that, but it makes a lot of sense.
Mm.
And many of us have had just very unusual things happen, and, I
Yes.
know a medium who's amazing, and she's lost 2 partners and
Oh,
something like 7 miscarriages. She's,
oh, wow.
exceptional, but what she's been through in her life, and she's had murder, suicide in her family. What she's been through in her life is obviously helping her to be really good at what she does and provide non-judgmental readings, and she's got a great following.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Because you can always tune into someone if you're empathic, but if you lived it, it's
Yes.
way different.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I find my guides are awesome, really. If I'm having a time where I doubt myself or I feel like, oh, should I really be doing this? I literally will have readings. All the rest of the readings for that day will resonate with my life experience. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's beautiful. Yes, that's right, Lenny. I'm talking about Florence. That's right. So you've probably touched on this question in saying that a person's aura can change, but I think what Robert's asking here is, does a person's aura change as we grow older? So is there sort of like a general trend?
Not necessarily.
Okay. All
It's a
right.
bit more complicated than that, but in a nutshell, the aura change with how you're feeling
Okay.
and the experiences that you are carrying. So everything is in the present moment with the aura. However, because we're humans, we sometimes carry things from the past as if they're from the present moment. So this is how we can read the past of someone or also the future, because actually the future is also in the present moment. So
Yeah.
everything is in the present moment. So yes and no, in the fact that it's not because you're getting older that your aura
Mhm.
will change, but if you evolve a lot, if you clear a lot of past traumas, then of course. And basically, the more you are in a spiritual journey, the more you're clearing up, the more
Yeah.
your colors in your aura may merge and become a very white light. So where
Wow.
we go usually the white light when we see a scent or something like that. But you can
Wow.
still pick up colors as needed as well.
Beautiful. I tend to I feel like I suck at auras. I really struggle with them, and I've tried, I think you look at people. I've tried sort of hand movements to help see, and anyway, but I find when I teach psychic development or when I'm tuning in doing a reading, suddenly I'll see a person's aura, and that tells me that they can see auras. So I tend to hijack. So I think if I can do it that way, I can actually do it. But what I tend to see more than auras are I don't know what I'm saying, whether it's an energetic field, but when you look at in a distance and it's hot and it sort of is like you see the heat come off the road. I kind of see that around people, and I often see it just sort of in one part of their body or something like that. Do you know what that is that I'm seeing?
So I don't know about the parts of the bodies. That may be an indication of something, and that you may have to feel what they want to tell you.
Mhm.
But it could, what I feel it's the energetical field that
Mhm.
encompass the aura and that encompass the chakras and the etherical bodies. So
Okay.
energetical fields are not only around here; they
Yeah.
are in the whole universe. But we can feel only until a certain degree at
Yeah.
this life. Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Yeah. Beautiful. Are you happy to answer a couple more questions?
sure.
Sure. Beautiful. Okay. So I've got one from Gwen. Loved and shared. How long after the soul leaves the body can we begin to sense them in our presence? So I think she's talking about mediumship one.
Yes. So thank you so much, Connie, for your question. And that's very interesting. And before everything that I've done, what I've gone through my guides is soul passing. So it's helping souls to find the light, basically. And there's a lot of soul passers. I don't do that professionally, but this is also how I started, because my father passed and I actually found him a bit lost, and it was very dear to my heart to help him. So
Wow.
I've helped a few souls like that. So I can actually answer your question, and that again actually really depends. There's no cutter for that, and it also depends in the state of mind. So if you die in a really bad state of mind, which is basically your hell on earth, if you have created your hell on earth with all the
Yeah.
your belief system, it will be very difficult to reach you, because you will be in the lower frequencies. And even if we reach you, it will be difficult to make a contact. If, however, you really left your ego and you're really like one with the consciousness and everything like that, it's very easy. There's
Yeah.
also what we call the hospitals in the astral world. So, and there's not judgment in that, but some people that have been extremely sick, and my dad was extremely sick because he had like a brain tumor, right? So his body disintegrated, his mind wasn't attached to his body at part. And
Wow.
that actually is a lot of reconstruction in the astral world, because remember, the astral world is still the subliminal world. That means it's still not reality, but it's
Right.
another reality. So in this type of thing, so people with very severe addictions, people with mental issues, people that had a very long disease or illness, will need a little bit more time. But you can straight away, especially if you have a love connection with someone, try to contact them. If they're happy, they will come. If they're not, just try a little bit later. Always with
Mhm.
love and understanding, and not pressuring anyone to answer the phone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, I've been intrigued when I've done a mediumship reading, and the person hasn't known that they've died, and I
Oh
thought,
yes.
oh, maybe they're they have dementia or there's some mental sort of separation. And then sure enough, they phone and say, "Wow, I didn't realize my cousin had died last week."
Hmm.
or something like that. So it can kind of happen, and it's not. They just, I guess, give you the message that you need.
Yes, and I find a lot
Yeah.
of animals as well because we create a lot of of link, and the the more the link is, sometimes it's difficult for the souls to pass through. And
Wow.
sometimes with animals, they are kept in between this. It's not really a limbo because it's a little bit different, but it's kind of a limbo, and they're basically here and they're not sure if they're dead or not because they're
Yeah.
still seeing humans and everything like that. So I see that a lot with like very intense relationship as well.
Right. Wow.
Mm.
Lenny has asked about the person's auric field, um, and sort of soul contracts. I guess if you've come come here to learn something and you've learnt it or ended that soul contract, does that affect your auric field? Like, does it mean the person's near the end of the soul contract, or is there any correlation with that?
Yeah, thanks so much, Lenny, for your question. So, from my own experience, it doesn't. Your auric field actually accompany you on the other
Yeah.
side, so it doesn't actually fade. What can
Okay.
happen if it fades? So it might come from you seeing something about this person, and it might be that this person is tired. It might be that this person is actually someone is sucking out the energy. There's
Yeah. Right.
energetical vampires and things like that, but I don't want to talk about that too much. But it
Yes.
can be a lot of things that you can see from that, and it's also can be like the person, and I know because I was like that. The person is actually not protecting and not
Uh-huh.
aware of the energetical field, and if it's the case, and I saw a lot of people like that, their energy field is going everywhere and it's thinning
Right.
out. And this
Okay.
is usually when you're lost in your life, when you're like,
Mm.
there's too much happening, like you don't know what you feel, you don't know where you're going. And that's because you're not aware that actually you can retract your energy field and be conscious of where it goes and everything like that. So you can have a link with that. I've never, from my own experience, seen someone with an auric field that was thinning and that was going. Because when my dad was on his deathbed, I could see clearly his aura as well.
Wow. Wow. Beautiful. This is fascinating. I might just do one more because I don't understand the question. I'm hoping you'll explain it to me. So this is Alison Turner. To protect one's energy, do you need to bring the light down from the universe? Oh, okay. So this way, or do you protect yourself from the sacral chakra up and put a wall up? Is this going to be white or gold light? So I guess Alison's asking about protection. Is if it's you sort of go down the chakras or up the chakras, I guess.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alison, for your question. So that is really up to you. There's a lot of way that you can protect yourself,
Mhm.
and everyone used a different way.
Mm.
I personally use a white light because this
Right.
is what I see, and I use a pyramid.
Sorry, what's that one?
A pyramid, like
Oh,
pyramids,
pyramid.
pyramid.
Yes.
Pyramid.
Yes.
That's my accent. And I always, but that's me. I always
Mm.
go through the higher chakras down because
Okay.
I do feel that at the moment we need a little bit more consciousness. Yes,
Hmm.
but if you wanted grounding, I will really work on the lower chakras. So if you want,
Right.
you do not need to go through a chakra to protect yourself. I actually wouldn't recommend that, but that's
Hmm.
only me. I would recommend, for example, placing like a peach color bubble around you, or the peach having an importance in the protection. But you can do that with anything that you feel comfortable. You can, thank you so much, Lenny. You
He's a
can put
charmer.
yeah, you can also put yourself in the what we call fleur de vie, so the life flower. This beautiful
Mm. Oh,
pattern
yes.
of
Yes.
life. So really, whatever appeals to you. So what I do is the peach bubble and the white light pyramid.
Oh,
That's my
beautiful.
so.
Beautiful. I tend to imagine myself just in a pink bubble, or
Hmm,
imagine I'm holding rose quartz and I've just got a pink bubble. And
exactly.
if I really don't want anyone around me, I make the pink bubble bigger. And it's quite funny when you're in a shopping center or something, and sometimes people. It's almost like they go to the edge of the bubble and you're visualizing and they stop. And I think, well, that's kind of cool.
Yes, you
And
can also do a lot. Yeah.
yeah, and I also do that technique when if someone's done the wrong thing by someone or someone's stolen or I'm just really unhappy about the injustice and I'm feeling angry.
Oh, yeah.
To sort of stop the anger, I actually I imagine then a beam of pink light going from that pink bubble to their heart, from my
Oh,
heart to
that's
their heart.
beautiful.
And it's more just to focus on that rather than focus on the anger, just
Yes,
to
and
distract my mind, like play a little
it's
trick. That's what
it
I
is
do.
it's absolutely crazy what you can do when you are aware and conscious of your energy field. And as
Mm.
you say, you've developed your own feeling because,
Yes.
well, I
Yeah.
mean, you're really well rounded in that and you have a lot of experience and
Yeah.
feeling and everything like that. But even, hiding your auric field, for example,
Yeah.
because other people that can see auras can see you or notice you. And sometimes I don't want people to read my
Yeah.
aura. And
Oh, right, so you hide that as protection. I hadn't thought of that.
yes, you can hide it. So I just personally, there's a certain spiritual laws. Not every mediums respect them or are aware of them.
Mm.
But one of them is to not perform a healing or reading if someone is not consenting. And by
Yes.
consenting, I mean your higher self. So you're not really conscious that you're consenting. But
Right.
I always ask, and that actually happened to me. Sometimes when I work with animals, I always ask, "Do you want to work with me?" Usually the answer is yes, but
Yes.
sometimes I have to know. And
Yeah.
when sending healing as well, some people, their higher self may say, "No, I don't want it right now,"
Yeah.
or something like that. So I never read auras out there
Mm.
if I'm not,
Yes.
if I don't have the acceptance of the other person,
Yes.
but some people do. So sometimes I close.
Yeah, that's I mean, that makes a lot of sense. So when I employ a booking person, the first thing I tell them is make sure a person is having reading voluntarily. So, and so if they're with friends or something, their friends say, "Hey, you have a reading." If they're not sure or they say, "I need to pay the rent," well, no, here's my card, watch my live or something like that. I don't force a person. But I've also had parents want their kids or the teenagers to have a reading and say to me, "Oh, tell him this." Well, no, I'm not going to do that for you. For me, it's not just about the money. You've got to be ethical as well. But
Yes,
that makes
exactly.
a lot of sense of you also being receptive and wanting that as well. So that makes perfect sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. Oh, well, thank you so much for your time, Hermione. Um, and thank you all to the audience for your amazing questions. Sorry, the dogs are just going mad, barking. Yeah, it's a really fascinating discussion. If I can just ask you one more question, what do you think? Do you think there's a heaven and hell, or what's your understanding of what heaven is? Do you think it's different layers of heaven and no hell, or do you have
Yeah.
any ideas about that?
That's such an interesting question, and we can be there for an hour
Yeah.
talking about it. So, I think it really depends on which level you're asking the question, in the sense that, and I'm only talking about me and my experience and my
Yes.
beliefs. So, for me, there's only one consciousness, and everything is one in it. So, hell and heaven is still in the dual world. So
Right.
basically, how you can really realize that is heaven wouldn't mean anything if hell wasn't here.
Yes.
So as
Okay.
long as there's a duality, for me, it's not consciousness, so it's not reality. But that's me.
Mhm.
It's how I experience the world. And
Yeah.
today, in our human appearances and experiences, we are here to experience duality. So it's important to understand these dualities.
Mm.
Yeah, beautiful. So the heaven and hell, for me, does exist if you create them. So we are
Right.
all creators, co-creators of the world that we're living in. And heaven on earth, you can create it. Hell on earth, we can create it. And
Yeah.
exactly the same in the afterlife and the afterlives, I should say. So it's very important, actually, to be aware of your own spiritual development,
Mm.
because this is not the only life that you're going to live. This is not
Yes.
you're the only life that you're living right now, and you
Yeah.
have a lot more after that. So the more you're working on that now, the better and the more evolution you will get from it. So nobody is lower than you in
Yes.
evolution path. We're just in a different path. and some people help each other, and then the other ones help each other. So there's no judgment in where you are right now in the path.
Yeah.
But heaven does exist if you create it. Hell does exist if you create it. And yes, as I was a soul, a passing soul, there were some very angry souls that I try to lighten up and at least make a bit of laugh, because
Yeah.
if you laugh and if you love, your energy goes up. So
Yes.
the more the energy goes up, the more you can see the guides, the more you can see the guides, the more you can see the light, and the more they can bring you to the light. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very important for that. But some doesn't want right now and stays
Yeah.
there, and that's totally fine. So there's nothing to be worried about afterlife. I promise you, it's super cool. For the one that goes to the astral world, you'll know. But there is a concept, and every concept is created by your mind. So if your minds create this concept, they do exist for you. I hope
Yeah.
I.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. And there was a beautiful analogy of, being lighter and being more receptive to your guides and allowing that communication. Imagine it as being a clear pool of water compared to a heavy, murky pool of water. Your guides would rather dive in a clear pool of water,
Yeah.
and see you there rather than trying to look for you or making it more difficult for them to. So yeah, but that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
And may I ask, what is your input on that, Rhonda? Actually, on your own question, what
Yeah,
how?
I do believe that every decision we make is a spiritual decision. We've got spiritual consequences to it. But having said that, you learn a lot in life and you make mistakes and all the rest of it. I feel like in sort of family situations and things like that, I've tried to be a teacher. And a part of that has just been letting go of, okay, that's their journey. They're not ready to learn that kind of thing. And you sort of have to then drop your own ego that you're not trying to please or you're not trying to fix everything. You just, if you can help, you can help. And if you can't, step back from it. So I do feel like there's a heaven. I feel like there's a heaven and not a hell. And there's different levels of that. And if you're a better person and a selfless person, not an ego driven, you're higher up and you help people who are struggling. So it feels like I feel like when you die, you have the same personality pretty much. And like my brother who's passed still has the same sense of humor. I hear his laugh when something's silly is about to happen. Someone's going to be drunk and fall in a pond or something. I hear him laugh beforehand. I know that it's going to happen. So, yeah, I just feel that even after you die, you can still help people, or you can still be selfish. Whatever you manifest and whatever you believe, you create. So I do believe that.
Yes, I feel that a lot of things that are arising at the moment in the world is also due to the fact that humans don't really take responsibilities and really consciousness about their thoughts and what they're creating for themselves and for the others as well. So it's really beautiful to see this emerging consciousness and this emerging earth angels going everywhere, and like you, Rhonda, taking everyone and trying to create a community and a safe place for people to come and meet and ask questions. So it's beautiful what you're doing. Thank you so much for this
Oh, thank
opportunity.
you.
And
Thank you.
it's really beautiful.
Yeah, really enjoyed having you on, and so did everyone else by all the questions. No other guest has had so many questions. So, yeah, absolutely wonderful. And I really look forward to meeting you in person on Saturday and having you at Ocean Wings in the psychic reading room. So I'll be posting the link shortly where you can actually book Hermine or any of the other readers in the reading room. But yeah, thank you so much. I'll say
Yeah,
goodbye.
thank you so much, everyone. And I really enjoy the questions. And thank you. Lot of love, lot of life for everyone. And I hope to see you on Saturday.
Beautiful. Thank you. Bye. Alrighty, so back to me again. So thank you so much for all those questions. They were amazing questions, and I was really wanting to find the answers out myself. So that's absolutely amazing. I've just realised I need to turn the lights on because it's starting to get dark, which is 7:15. I did want to ask. I was actually drawn to you, Jocelyn, to just do a reading. I did, by the way, have another guest, but that other guest hasn't turned up, so we spent longer with Hermione, but I don't think you minded that because, um, yeah, she was absolutely wonderful and just a wealth of information and knowledge. So Jocelyn, just doing a reading for you. There's a bit of anxiety around you, Jocelyn. I just feel like you need to. Um, I just feel like I can feel my heart beating fast, and I just feel a bit like I need to take a step back. I feel like you're a bit overwhelmed at the moment, and you're trying to do lots of different things. I'm getting 4 different things, but you're not finishing one before you start another. And I feel like you need to just finish one or tackle the one that you have the most confidence tackling, or you think will be easier. And there's just going to have that flow on effect where you'll then just do the other 3 fairly easily. But that's what I'm getting with that. And there's been a discussion about having a bit of cake or something, or you not buying a cake or having a piece of cake. And my feeling is just have that bit of cake. Be kind to yourself. All right. Thank you, Jocelyn. Yeah. So she was, she was absolutely amazing. Beautiful. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I got a compliment too. That's nice. I didn't actually do much. It was my Hermione that answered the questions, but thank you, Jocelyn. I'm just scrolling back up on the comments, just seeing if I have missed any at all. But yeah, fantastic questions from Robert and Lenny and Alison and Jocelyn. Thank you. And Gwenny. That's okay. Yeah, Hermione's energy is really beautiful. I'm really looking forward to meeting her on Saturday at my Ocean Wing Psychic Fair. I'm going to plug it again. So from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Tramsheds. If people don't know where it is, there's a Tramsheds near where I am at the moment, but it's in a different part of Sydney. The Tramsheds I'm talking about is in Glebe, so near Glebe Point Road. So actually the suburb is Forest Lodge. So it's a really beautiful venue. There's a supermarket, there's restaurants downstairs, and it's actually at the community centre, which is upstairs at the Tramshed. So if you come in from the main front entrance, you'll see my banner at the front, and you basically sort of go to the left of the building. There's a supermarket, and then you go up the escalators 1 level or the lifts. If you park and you go upstairs, you'll just be at the same level, or you could park in street parking behind the Tramsheds, and that's just going down a level. So it's basically the hills are a bit windy and wobbly, but it's basically up or down depending on where you park, and that's where I am. So check out my Ocean Wings page on website and my Ocean Wings events. I'm just adding a bit more to that. I've had a lot of feedback where people have seen it advertised online, which is awesome. So I've advertised in different Sydney what's on type things and different communities and that, and obviously in Facebook. Okay, Lenny has said Robert Wilson was asking me that very question about availability of dinner. Yeah, so there is actually a lot. Okay, so I just got a troll, so that's fantastic. So just blocking this one. Happiness someone. Yeah, so there is actually a lot of options, Lenny. So I'll send an email, but have a look on Tramshed Sydney. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. So I don't think you're that disappointed that the other guest didn't turn up, because we actually did quite a lot of questions with Hermione, and that was absolutely wonderful. So I'm not going to do any more readings. I'm going to have an early night, but thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for all your interaction and questions and meeting Hermione. So those of you who are coming to the Tramsheds on Saturday, you'll get to meet her in a psychic reading room. And if you weren't planning to come, now hopefully you will decide to come and have a reading with Hermione. Okay, thank you. Bye. I will just add also before I go that tickets are $5 before the event. So look at oceanwings.com.au, look at the Tramsheds on the 5th of November, and it's $5. And if you pay at the door, it's $10. And that ticket price includes stage presentations all day. So as Hermine said, she'll be talking about animal communication. And we also have prize draws. So we've got with our sponsors are Shampoo with a Purpose. We've got a gift pack from them. We've also got a 30-minute reading time with Psychic TV Australia, your choice of any psychics. I'm also offering a 30-minute reading, and we also have 2 psychic readings available in the reading room. So you can have those both together as a 30-minute reading or 2 separate 15 minutes. So that's what your $5 ticket entry includes. So the talks and prize draw. Okay, but I am going now. So have a good night and see you later. Bye.